consultant at the Scale Factory, and I'm going to talk about HTTP version 3. The pizzas are coming. So, I'm not going to ask you to put up your hands. You've all used the web. Everyone in this room has used HTTP version 1.1. A bunch of you will have used HTTP 2. Maybe you've just used it by accident and you didn't notice the difference. Maybe it's something that you've deliberately designed into an infrastructure. People don't notice the difference between HTTP 1 and HTTP 2, and that's great. And largely, end users will not notice HTTP 3 either. That's the whole point. What's going to be different? Well, it'll be a bit better if you're on dodgy Wi-Fi on a train. You'll be able to use HTTP 3 websites a little bit better than you can with HTTP 2. And even if you're not on a flaky internet connection, you'll get a little bit more performance. And that's pretty much it for end users. So, it's a big shift. It builds on HTTP 2, and it's going to be worth it. Let me just talk about what you got from HTTP 2 to recap for people who've, had different levels of experience with this level of the web. So, HTTP 2 built on the text-based protocol HTTP 1. HTTP 2 is binary. You get header compression. You get multiple streams that are managed by the web server and which are prioritized by the sending end, the web server, rather than by your client. And you get push promises, which are a fantastic feature where the web server can say, hello, I think you might have wanted to ask for this style sheet as well, here it is, which brings a big performance benefit. So you get all of those with HTTP 3. But it's completely different in terms of being a network protocol. It runs on top of QUIC. So QUIC, that's QUIC, is not short for anything. It's just another transport. QUIC is based on UDP. So the web browser, you don't telnet to a web server just to try it out if you're debugging something with HTTP 3. You need to have a client that talks UDP on port 80. Bit of a difference. The good news is that nearly every website that supports HTTP 3 will still support HTTP 1. So if you need to debug something, you can talk HTTP 1. It gets different at the lower level though. Because HTTP 3 and QUIC rely on TLS, you can talk to a website that you've already established a relationship with without any round-trip delay. One packet goes from your computer saying, hello, it's me. Hello, you're Google, I think. We already spoke. I'd like to resume that relationship. Here's what I want to know. And Google's web server can reply with one packet back. The difference in experience is amazing because all that latency that you'd have experienced setting up a TLS connection with HTTP 1, HTTP 2, if it's a website you've already visited, that pretty much goes away. It is optional, and there are some implementation details about that. In particular, if you're handling a post request or a put, something that isn't idempotent, and that's arrived via one of those zero round-trip time requests, your app needs to be really sure that it does know how to handle repeated packets. If all of that scares you terribly, enable HTTP 2, stop there, and wait. Or enable HTTP 3 when it's out, and don't turn on that zero RTT feature. It does have some gotchas. And if you're writing an app and you're writing it in a framework like Flask or Sinatra or a lot of Node.js frameworks as well, you're not going to have to worry about how the web server works. But if you're writing a web server or your app is low level enough to care, you're going to have to pick up a whole load of new responsibilities. Because quick transport is done over UDP, shifting a lot of responsibilities from the kernel into the application layer. So your app is going to have to be responsible for splitting streams into packets, managing congestion, so making sure it's not using too much of the network, and prioritizing packets between different streams. If a packet gets lost, someone switches from Wi-Fi to their mobile connection, that's going to have to handle retransmitting a packet to them, and then detecting that actually it's a dead peer and you should stop talking and give up quickly. All of that moves into the app, along with finding out how big a packet you can send between one endpoint, the web server, and your client, or vice versa. Writing a web browser, and implementing all the details just got a whole lot harder. Also, TLS 1.3 is mandatory. You can only talk HTTP 3 to a client if your server's got a valid valid X509 certificate that the client's willing to accept. Otherwise, no dice. So, a big bunch of changes, and I hope that's whet your appetite, because now I've spoken for a few minutes, I have got time for a few questions. Thank you very much for listening.